Hello, Gina Aliotti here. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm really excited because I'm bringing out our crock pot. It's been a while since I've used the crock pot, but now that the weather is slowly starting to change, I figure it's a great time to bring out the crock pot. I always forget about it when it's in the cupboards, but when it gets to be a little bit cooler outside, I remember it, and then once I bring it out, I'm like, why don't I just leave this thing on my counter? It is so easy for convenience purposes, when you're in a hurry, when you just don't have time to prepare your meals. The crock pot is the best thing in the world. So I'm going to show you a pork stew that I'm going to prepare, and I don't cook with pork that often, but pork actually, believe it or not, pork loin, a pork roast, is very lean. It's actually just as lean, if not sometimes leaner than chicken. And I know sometimes when you think of pork, you think of bacon, and with bacon you think just high fat and saturated fat at that. So you may tend to just not eat a lot of pork, but it is something that I do eat on occasion, very tasty, and again, very lean. So I'm going to prepare a pork roast. So what I'm going to do is simply start by putting one whole 32-ounce container of chicken broth, low sodium chicken broth, right into my crock pot. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this entire thing into the crock pot. And what's great about using the crock pot and preparing stews is you can really use anything. You just literally open up your refrigerator, and if there's things that you need to get rid of, you can just throw all kinds of ingredients into your stews. And when you slow cook them, all the flavors come together and you just can come up with some really creative crock pot creations. So there's my 32 ounces of low sodium chicken broth. Now I'm going to add celery. So just took a handful of celery, about six stalks or so. Just cutting those into big pieces. And I'm going to put these right into the crock pot, the celery. And now, before I add any other ingredients, I'm going to add my pork roast. So here's my pork roast. It comes just like so. And I'm going to open this up and I'm going to place this raw just directly into the crock pot. So here it is. You can see there's not a lot of white fat on it, so it's a very lean cut. This is a pork roast. Now, of course, while handling meat, you want to make sure that you wash your hands thoroughly so you don't contaminate anything. So my hands are washed. We've got the pork in there, and now we're ready to add all the other goodies. So I have here heirloom tomato, and I'm going to add this. This is from the farmer's market. Remember this beautiful heirloom tomato. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this into pieces. And what's great about the crock pot is when you slow cook it, everything just kind of falls apart. So you don't need to cut everything into small pieces. You could just add big chunks of all your vegetables into the crock pot, not worrying about finely mincing and dicing. So it makes it really easy, even just in the cutting preparation. Now I'm going to add some onion. So I'm going to throw this matchstick in my mouth to stop me from crying. This actually does work. So I'm going to put this in my mouth and just cut up my onion here. Notice how I'm not crying. The matchstick trick does work. So try that one. Give that one a try. I'm just going to throw these big pieces of purple onion right into the mix. Again, no need to finely dice these onions, just going to throw them in just like so right into the crock pot. All right, so we're getting full, but we're not done yet. We're going to fill this puppy all the way up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add fresh parsley. So adding some fresh parsley in big chunks, just right into the top there. We're almost done here, believe it or not. I'm going to add a handful of shredded carrots. You can do whole or shredded, but I happen to have some shredded that need to be used up. So I'm just going to do a handful of shredded carrots. Looks like about a cup or so. Now for my seasonings. I'm going to just since there's so many different flavors already with the vegetables and the parsley. I'm just gonna season this very minimally. So I'm gonna add some garlic powder. A lot of garlic, love the garlic. Then I'm going to add quite a bit of pepper. Absolutely, pepper is a must. So just add that pepper right in there like so. And right when you think that you cannot add anything else to the crock pot, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm going to add about 6 leaves of kale right into the top of the crock pot. Okay, now look at this thing. You are gonna say, how the heck are you going to get this to steam down, and how are you gonna fit that lid on there? Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm simply just gonna put the lid on there, push it all down, and that's the beauty of the crock pot, is you can add as much or as little as you want. Throw that lid on. I'm going to put it on low, so I'm gonna cook this for 6 to 8 hours. So I'm gonna put it on low, and slow and steady cooking is the theory with this crock pot and stews. And everything's just gonna fall off, and just all the flavors are gonna come together really nicely. So I'm gonna cook this for 6 to 8 hours on low. It has 2 settings, low or high. I like to use the low if I have more time. If I'm in a hurry and I just want it a little bit quicker, I can do high for about half the time. But always, if I am thinking in advance, I wanna do it on low. And this is actually gonna be for dinner tomorrow night. So as you can see, I'm preparing this now for tomorrow night. And you saw that it only took me about 5 minutes or so to put everything together. And it's as simple as that. You're gonna have not only dinner, but probably 3 or 4 meals out of it for the whole family. So we will see how this looks once it's all done in 6 to 8 hours. So for now, I'm just gonna keep this on my counter, and I can go on with my day, do whatever I want. While this is on low, it's completely safe. So yeah, so we'll see what this looks like in 6 to 8 hours. Hello, okay, we're back, and the crock pot pork stew is completely done. I actually let this cook for about 13 hours. I let it cook on low while I was sleeping, turned it off in the morning, and now it's cooled and ready to be served. All right, so here we have our crock pot pork stew, and see how all the ingredients have really mixed together nicely. And what I really want to show you is look at the pork. This is the pork here. If you recall, I put in an entire pork roast, and now you have this pork that is just completely shredded. All right, so there's our crock pot pork stew, and as I mentioned, the pork just shreds and all the ingredients come together nicely. This is what's for dinner, the crock pot pork stew, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to supplement this with a side of brown rice or quinoa, and it's going to make an amazing dinner for this evening. And you see how easy that is? It's really fun to make because you can get creative, but not only that, it's just, you just set it on low, turn it on, go to sleep, wake up, turn it off, and you have yourself a beautiful lunch or dinner. So here's our crock pot pork stew.